All right, welcome back, everybody. Today, I want to have a look at what to do with the fantastic image you might have created, and how we can share this, get this out there, use it in other forms. So, one of the issues with Photoshop is that you've created this beautiful, high quality image. You've maybe made a bunch of layers, you've got a whole bunch of stuff here, but now you want to share that with the world. And the problem is, it's a huge file that can only be opened by another person with Photoshop, which is not a cheap program, and most people do not have it readily available. So we want to be able to share this in another format. Also, as I said, it's super high quality. Now I just saved this as a Photoshop document, and if I go and look at this test here, I can see it is a 47 megabyte image. So let's say I made this lovely image here. I wanted to attach it to an email. That's larger than most email attachments will allow. And to be honest, there's no real need for it to be that big in the end product. So what we're going to do is go down to the File Export menu, and we're going to use this Export As feature to export for a more friendly, widely accessible version of this picture. And you can do some other quick export ases or save ases to bring things up, but this really nicely gives us a little bit of information and allows us to do some customizing in the saving. So here we get this little export as window that pops up here. You can see there's a little picture of it. Now I notice I'm at 15%. So one of the other things you can look at is to say, well, how big is this image actually? Well, there it is at 100%, and this is what I would be saving. And to be honest, if I'm putting, say, that on a web page, that's just way too big. It's too big for my laptop screen. So it's not really needed to be that large. And what we want to do when we're saving images is to get the highest quality image for the lowest file size. And this will allow us to share it, but also it will save bandwidth on people's internet. It will make games lighter if we have a smaller file size. The less information with the same quality, the better in the end product. In the working one, you still want to keep it as high as possible. So let's talk about, first of all, formats. So up here, you've got your big three options, which are kind of their compression technologies, essentially, for getting rid of information or making this smaller using some math formulas. And I'm going to go backwards in time here, starting with the GIF or the GIF here. So a GIF, first of all, I can see, remember from the Photoshop document of 42 megs, we are down to 1.1 megs, which is a substantial savings, as you can imagine. However, GIFs were developed early on, and they were designed for sharing and showing off images in the early days of the internet and graphic design, which meant that they were mostly, cartoon-like or 8-bit graphics or drawings and things like that. So they do a good job of the compression technology, but when you get in close, you can see that we get lots of kind of patchiness there on a photograph. And the reason is they're not designed for that. They're designed for a limited number of colors, and photos have large numbers of colors. They do have some advantages. They can have a transparent color, so there can be some see-through things on there. And then you may be also familiar with the fact that you can kind of stack them on top of each other and play them really quickly, and we could create an animated GIF. So they are great for those kind of things, and we do have a substantial savings, but there are better options out there. A little bit after the GIF, along came a bunch of photography people who said, hey, we want some way of sharing our pictures over the internet and in other ways that make really good photos and preserve all of the details and quality. So they came up with this group that they formed, which was the Joint Photographic Experts Group, and we shortened that to a JPEG. So this was designed specifically to share and compress photos and photography. And if you click on that, you can see we are automatically down to, wow, 388K, which is about a third of the GIF. And if you zoom in, I'll go back to that same leg part there, you can see that it's designed for, we don't have all that kind of spotty artifacting. It's designed to you have lots and lots of colors. because that's how photos work. We have lots of variations in colors. We're not painting things like that. And also this is what's called a lossy technology, which means you can further reduce the quality to save on file size. So right now I'm at 388. You can go down all the way down to quality 1 and you will see we are at 45K. So it's a ridiculous amount of savings there. However, we do start to lose quality. So when I'm zoomed in there, so I want to think as I zoom out, is that a level of quality I'm happy with? And I can kind of see some blocky artifacting. This is how JPEG kind of throws away some information. And what really matters is, does it fool my eye? Do I see it as the same quality? In this case, I do not. I can notice some things, but maybe bringing it up to like a quality of 4, we're still at 109K. And there, I don't see a lot of the artifacting anymore. Let me see if I go up from 6 to 4. I can't really tell a difference between the two from my perspective. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm at 200K, so I've saved quite a bit of time. And this is why I really like this export as interface, because it allows you to kind of see and adjust the quality. Now, the final one, which we'll talk about before we move on, is the PNG. This came about a little more recently. These two dominated the world of graphics for a long time, and then the people who developed GIF wanted to start charging for it. So along came another group to do an open source free version, and they wanted something that worked well for kind of both ideas. So the PNG, or Portable Network Graphic, has a lot of the advantages of both of them. However, it does not have the file size savings of either of them. So if I were to go to smaller one, this would be kind of compared to a GIF. And you can see we're down at 1.8 megs. We do get a little bit of that graininess in there, because this was the PNG 8 was designed to compete with the GIF. And if I move it bigger, use the large size one, we are almost double the size there. Not quite double the size, but 50% more size here. We do have a nicer quality, and it works great. However, the file size savings aren't quite there. Though, as the internet gets faster and faster, we can use these more. The PNGs do have some advantages, like you can have transparency, which JPEGs cannot, because you generally don't have transparent parts of a photo. You have a photo. And we can do some stacked things, and we can do a lot of other things in the PNG format. So they're gaining more wide acceptance, although we are starting to get some new formats as well. We'll talk about it in a minute. The second thing I really like about this is that this image is 2100 pixels wide by 1500 pixels tall, which is for a lot of screens larger than the screen can actually display. So there's no need to have a picture that giant. However, I do want to maintain it in my original copy. So the nice part is, in my export as, I can actually tweak this. I can change and say, well, you know what? I only need about 50% of that. And that's still a pretty large picture. If I zoom in to 100%, you can see that would be a great size for still getting me the full image. And I can see that I've reduced it down. Oh, that's on 1 meg. Let's go to my JPEG is better. I'm still now down to 100K. So I've significantly saved the file size, and I've got the exact quality that I want. And when you're done, you can hit export, and you can now save it as a JPEG or a PNG or a GIF. And all three of these are widely accepted on any web browser. You can put them in an email. Everybody can open these because they are designed to be universally accepted formats. Now, as we move forward, let's get into our course here. I put a little link on your Moodle class here that, just like the GIF we started out with, and then we got the JPEG, and then later on came the PNG. There are constant evolutions to try and use new math and new compression technologies to share stuff out. So this is going back to 2021, so I'm sure these are going to be more common now, and you're going to see some new ones as well. But Google's come out with a technology called WebP. This was designed for transparency. It's got animation, speed and size, as with anything, when it's brand new, poor browser support, which means if you put this on your web page, it's not necessarily going to be supported. If you try and bring this into, say, a game design project, it might not be supported with that, but it's going to be moving along. HEIF is another new one here, very, very common. You're going to see this, especially Apple's pushing it quite a bit on the iPhones when you take a picture and some other things. Finally, we've got AVIF is one of the lightest file formats, brand new transparency. It's got animation, it's got high color ranges, but again, very limited support in browsers. And again, this takes time to integrate into other software. This is a royalty-free video codec, so that's kind of handy, but obviously you can use it for images as well. Or AVI1, sorry, this is the picture version of that. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff, and you're going to see new ones as well when you start searching Google Images. You're going to see we've got a new format called a JFIF, a JFIF. It's actually a kind of a wrapper for JPEG technology, but I don't want to get into the newest stuff. There's always going to be something new later, and the latest and the greatest, and I would just want you to be aware that there are different formats that are really commonly accepted, and there are going to be some new ones. Some will fall by the wayside, and some, like GIFs, are still sticking around there. We still have animated GIFs out there, but they're not always the best for, especially photographs. So there you go. Now you can save it. You can post things up. You can share your pictures over email, and you can start integrating your graphics into other software projects.